Hey y'all, this is Pastor Jenna from First Presbyterian Church of Taos coming in with your weekly children's sermon. This week we're going to hear a story about Jesus' disciples being on a boat. And they're out on the boat at sea, and then a big storm comes up and they get really scared because they're afraid that something's going to happen to them. And I wonder if you can think for just a minute about what you would do if you were riding in a boat. Maybe, I don't know if you've ever been in a boat. Maybe you've been in a canoe. Maybe you've been on a bigger boat than that. But you're riding in a boat, and all of a sudden, the boat disappears. And there's no boat. You're just in the middle of the sea, and there's a storm. What are you going to do? My first thought would be to try to swim. Or maybe you try to find something to grab onto. Or I don't know, maybe you find something you can use as a kickboard and kick with it. Maybe you see if there's another boat around. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you try something crazy. Maybe you try to fly. Maybe you try, like Peter does in the story, to just walk through the water. Who knows? Maybe the water's shallow. You might be able to stand up in it. So that's not quite what happens in this story. In the story in the Bible, Jesus comes walking on the water, because he can do that. And he sees the disciples in the boat, and they're so scared until they realize it's Jesus. And then Peter says, tell me to come to you. I want to walk on the water too. And Jesus does. He says, come, and Peter walks on the water for a little bit. And then he gets scared and he sinks, and that's okay. But what we're going to talk about this week is sort of what happens when you think you're in a boat and then everything changes. For Peter, he got out of the boat on purpose. But sometimes, if you've ever been rafting maybe, you just fall out of the boat. Sometimes you're in the boat and then you're just not. And you got to be creative, I guess, and find a way to be okay in the water and to survive without a boat. So sometimes I think maybe that's what Jesus is teaching us about faith. He talks about faith at the very end of the story, faith and doubt. And I wonder if faith has less to do with sort of super magical stuff like walking on water and more to do with trusting that when there's no boat, we're still going to be okay. We're going to figure out how to swim or how to float. Someone else is going to get us to shore, or what happens to Peter is going to happen. Jesus reaches out his hand and he catches him. He keeps him from falling. He gets them all safely to shore. So use that creative side of your brain this week. Think about what we can do when something unexpected happens and how we can use our faith to be creative and to try something new. I'll see you guys online for worship on Sunday. And as we always say, may God be with you there and may God be with us here. Bye-bye.